He said I was crazy for 10 years. Then I found the cameras. My name is Lisa. I'm 48 years old and I live in Portland, Oregon. 3 years ago, I made a discovery that explained everything. Everything I'd been told was in my head. Everything I'd been convinced was my failing memory. Everything that made me believe I was losing my mind. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You know that feeling when you're absolutely certain you left your keys on the counter, but they're not there? When you swear you had a conversation with someone, but they insist it never happened? When everyone around you starts looking at you with that concerned expression, like you're fragile, like you're breaking? I lived that way for a decade. And the worst part, I believed them. I believed I was the problem. Before I tell you what I discovered, I need to know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments below, hit that like button, and subscribe to this channel. We share stories like mine every single day. Real women, real experiences, real survival. Every subscription helps other women find these stories when they need them most. This isn't just a story about being called crazy. It's about how someone can systematically destroy your sense of reality. How you can start doubting everything you know to be true. How the people closest to you can make you question your own mind. When I met Derek, I was 34 years old, teaching art at a community college, living my quiet life in Portland. He was 38, successful architect, cultured, sophisticated. The kind of man who seemed too good to be true. Looking back now, he was. But I didn't see the signs. How could I? The signs weren't obvious. They were subtle, careful, designed to make me doubt myself, not him. For 10 years, I thought I was going insane. For 10 years, everyone around me, my husband, my friends, even my family, seemed to agree that something was wrong with me. Then I found something that changed everything. This story gets dark before it gets better. It's going to make you angry. It might make you check your own home. But I promise you, it ends with truth. If you've ever been told you're too sensitive, too paranoid, or remembering it wrong, stay with me. This one's for you. And trust me, you'll want to know what I found. I met Derek at a gallery opening in the Pearl District, September 2010. I was 34. He was 38. I'd gone alone, which I did often back then. I loved art openings, the quiet conversations, the wine, the feeling of being part of something creative. Derek was standing in front of a piece I'd been admiring, a mixed media installation about memory and perception. Ironic, considering what would happen later. What do you think? He asked without looking at me. I think it's about how we construct our own reality, I said. How memory is unreliable. He turned then, smiled. I think you're exactly right. We talked for 2 hours. He was an architect, had his own firm, specialized in sustainable design. He was thoughtful, asked questions about my work teaching art, actually listened to the answers. When the gallery closed, he asked for my number. I'd like to take you to dinner, he said, somewhere we can actually hear each other talk. Our first date was at a small Italian place in northwest Portland. He ordered wine without asking what I wanted, but his choice was perfect. He talked about his work with genuine passion, asked about mine with what seemed like real interest. You're different, he said over dessert. Most people I meet are so superficial. You actually think about things. I felt seen in a way I hadn't in years. We started dating seriously within weeks. Derek was attentive but not smothering. He'd text good morning, call during lunch breaks, make plans for weekends. He introduced me to his friends, came to faculty events at the college, integrated into my life smoothly. 6 months in, he said he loved me. We were hiking in the gorge, had stopped at a viewpoint overlooking the Columbia River. I've never felt this way about anyone, he said. You make me want to be better, kinder, more present. I said it back because I felt it too. At 34, after a string of disappointing relationships, Derek felt like the real thing. He proposed a year after we met. Nothing dramatic, just the two of us at home, cooking dinner together. He pulled out a simple platinum band. "I don't need a big gesture," he said. "I just need you to say yes." I did. We got married 3 months later. Small ceremony, just close friends and family. My parents flew in from Boston. Loved him immediately. My mom pulled me aside at the reception. "He's so attentive to you," she said. "The way he watches you. Make sure you're comfortable. You found a good one, Lisa." The first 2 years were good. Really good. We bought a house together. A renovated Craftsman in Irvington. Derek's career was thriving. My teaching position was secure. We talked about having kids someday. Took trips to the coast on weekends. Hosted dinner parties. But there were small things. Things I noticed but didn't think much about. Like how Derek always wanted to know my schedule. Not controlling, just interested. "What time is your last class? When will you be home? Any plans after work?" Or how he'd occasionally move things in the house. "I reorganized the kitchen," he'd say. "More efficient this way." I'd spend days looking for the coffee mugs in their new location. Or how he'd sometimes tell me things I'd said, except I didn't remember saying them. "Remember when you mentioned wanting to visit Japan? We should plan that trip." I don't think I said that. "You did last Tuesday. Over dinner. Maybe you forgot?" Maybe I had. I was busy with work, stressed about department politics. It was possible I'd forgotten a conversation. Around year 3, things started getting strange. I'd lose my keys constantly. Leave them on the hook by the door. Come back. They'd be gone. Derek would help me search, find them in my coat pocket or my purse. "You must have put them there and forgot," he'd say, concerned. "Are you feeling okay? You seem stressed lately." I was stressed. The college was going through budget cuts. I was worried about my position. Maybe I was more distracted than usual. My phone would be in different rooms than I left it. My wallet would migrate from my bag to the kitchen counter. Small things, easily explained by my own absent-mindedness. Then the conversation started. Derek would reference things I'd supposedly said or done. Plans I'd apparently made. Decisions I'd supposedly agreed to. "We're having dinner with the Johnsons on Saturday, remember?" "No, when did we plan that?" "You texted Sarah last week. Set it up yourself." I'd check my phone. Sure enough, there were texts. "Planning dinner," in my messaging app. From my phone. But I didn't remember sending them. "I don't remember doing this," I'd say, staring at the screen. "Lisa, you're scaring me. Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I don't remember." It kept happening. I'd find notes in my handwriting that I didn't remember writing. Calendar appointments I didn't recall making. Items purchased online that I had no memory of ordering. "Maybe you should see someone," Derek suggested gently one night. "A doctor. This isn't normal, forgetting so many things." "I'm only 37, I said. "People don't get dementia at 37. "Maybe it's not dementia. Maybe it's stress, anxiety. But something's wrong, Lisa. You have to see that." I did see it. I saw that I was losing chunks of time, that my memory was failing in ways that terrified me, that I was becoming unreliable even to myself. So I went to a doctor. Got blood work done. Brain scans. Everything came back normal. "Probably stress-related," the doctor said. "Have you considered therapy?" I started seeing a therapist. Told her about the memory lapses, the confusion. She suggested I was experiencing dissociation due to work stress. Derek came to a session with me, held my hand, told the therapist how worried he was. "She's not herself," he said. "I just want her to get better." The therapist looked at me with such sympathy, like I was broken, like I needed to be fixed. And I believed it. I believed something was fundamentally wrong with me. That's what the first 4 years of gaslighting looks like. So subtle you don't even notice it's happening. So carefully constructed that you start to do the work for them, convincing yourself you're the problem. I had no idea what was coming next. Year 7. I turned 41 in March. Derek made my favorite dinner, carrot cake from scratch. We ate alone, just the two of us. I couldn't remember the last time I'd celebrated with friends. Actually, I couldn't remember the last time I'd seen friends. The days had a rhythm to them now. I'd wake up. Derek would already be in the shower. I'd make coffee. Except sometimes the coffee maker would be in a different spot on the counter than I remembered. Small things. Always small things. "Did you move the coffee maker?" I asked one morning. Derek looked at me, that patient expression. "No, honey. It's been there for months. Since we renovated the kitchen, remember? We renovated the kitchen? Last summer. You picked out the backsplash yourself." I looked at the backsplash. White subway tile. I had no memory of choosing it. No memory of a renovation at all. "Right," I said. "Sorry, I forgot." I stopped asking questions after a while. It was easier. My days were quiet. I'd paint sometimes, but even that felt exhausting. I'd lose motivation halfway through a piece. Leave it unfinished. My studio filled with half-finished canvases. Like my half-finished thoughts. Derek worked long hours. Or maybe he always had. Time was strange now. He'd leave at 7, come home at 8, sometimes later. Sometimes I'd look at the clock, and it would be midnight, and I wouldn't know where the evening had gone. "You fell asleep on the couch again," he'd say gently, helping me to bed. "You were out cold when I got home." "What time did you get home?" "Around 7:30, like always." But my phone said midnight. I must have slept for hours without realizing. I started having trouble with my phone. It would be dead when I was sure I'd charged it. Apps I didn't recognize would be installed. My alarm wouldn't go off when I needed it to. "Maybe you need a new phone," Derek suggested. "This one's pretty old. I'll get you a new one." He did. Set it up for me. Transferred everything. It was easier to let him handle it. I couldn't keep track of passwords anymore anyway. One afternoon, I went to the grocery store. The first time I'd left the house alone in weeks. It felt overwhelming, all those people, all those choices. I stood in the cereal aisle for 20 minutes, unable to decide. My phone rang. "Derek, hey, where are you?" "At the store. You knew I was going to the store." "Did I? You didn't tell me you were leaving." "I did. This morning." "Lisa, I don't remember that conversation." "Are you sure you told me?" "Was I sure? I thought I had. But I thought a lot of things lately that apparently weren't true. Maybe I forgot to mention it," I said. "It's okay. I was just worried. Can you pick up milk while you're there?" I looked at my cart. There was already milk in it. 2 gallons. I already have milk. "Oh, okay, well, hurry home. It's getting dark." It was 2 in the afternoon. Not dark at all. But I left anyway, abandoning half my shopping list, suddenly anxious to be back in the house. When I got home, Derek was already there. "I thought you said you'd be home at 8. I said, "No, I said 7. Don't you remember? I specifically said 7 because I wanted to have dinner with you." I put the groceries away, my hands shaking slightly. I'd been so sure he said 8. That night, Derek made pasta. We ate in front of the TV, watching a documentary about architecture. At least, I think we watched it. I kept losing the thread of it, my mind drifting. "You seem distant," Derek said during a commercial. "Are you okay?" "Just tired." "You're always tired lately. Maybe your medication needs adjusting." "Maybe." He kissed my forehead. "I worry about you, you know. When I'm at work, I worry about you here alone all day." "I'm fine." "Are you? Because sometimes I come home and you haven't eaten. Or you've been wearing the same clothes for days. Lisa, I don't think you're taking care of yourself." Was I wearing the same clothes? I looked down at my sweater. I'd put it on this morning. Or was it yesterday morning? "I'm trying," I said, and hated how small my voice sounded. The seasons changed. Spring became summer, became fall. My 42nd birthday came and went. Another dinner, just us two. Derek gave me a new set of paintbrushes. Expensive ones. "Maybe these will inspire you to get back into your art," he said. I tried. I really did. But every time I went into my studio, I'd find things different. A canvas moved. Paint tubes in the wrong order. My chair adjusted to a different height. "Derek, are you sure you haven't been in my studio?" "Why would I go in there?" That's your space. Things are just different. Lisa. He put down his book, gave me his full attention. I think you're getting worse again. Maybe we need to try different doctors, different medications. Something isn't working. I started crying. I don't know why. I'd been doing that more lately, crying for no reason. He held me while I cried. It's okay. We'll figure it out. I'm not going anywhere. I'll take care of you. Year 8, 43 years old. I looked in the mirror one day and barely recognized myself. Thin, pale, haunted eyes. When had that happened? I had a voicemail on my phone from someone named Rachel. Lisa, I'm worried. You haven't returned my calls in months. Are you okay? Please call me back. I didn't remember Rachel calling, but there were 6 missed calls from her number in my phone log, dating back weeks. I called Derek at work. Did Rachel call me? Who's Rachel? My friend. From before. Oh, her. Lisa, you haven't talked to her in years. Not since things got bad. But she just called. Left a voicemail. Are you sure? Can you play it for me? I tried to play the voicemail again. It was gone. Deleted. I must have deleted it by accident. Maybe you imagined it, honey. That's been happening more, hasn't it? Hearing things? Seeing things? I hadn't told him about that. The voices I sometimes heard. Whispers when no one was there. Footsteps in empty rooms. How did you know about that? You told me last week. You don't remember? I didn't remember. That night I lay in bed, Derek asleep beside me. I stared at the ceiling, at the smoke detector with its blinking red light. Such a normal thing. Every house has them. But something about it bothered me. The way it blinked. The angle it was positioned. Like it was watching. I shook my head. See? This is what Derek meant. I was getting paranoid. Imagining things. A smoke detector wasn't watching me. That was crazy thinking. Rolled over, closed my eyes, pushed the thought away. Because I was good at that now. Pushing away thoughts that didn't fit. Trusting everyone else's reality instead of my own. It was safer that way. Year 9 started with a phone call I actually remembered making. I called my old department at the college. Asked if there were any part-time positions available. I needed something. Anything to make me feel like a real person again. Lisa? The department secretary sounded surprised. We haven't heard from you in so long. How are you? I'm better, I think. I was wondering about teaching opportunities. Let me transfer you to Dr. Morrison. While on hold, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Maybe I could work again. Maybe I wasn't as broken as everyone thought. Dr. Morrison, the department chair, came on the line. Lisa, it's good to hear from you. Derek mentioned you've been going through a difficult time. Derek called you? A few months ago. He was very concerned. Said you'd had to take medical leave due to cognitive issues. I didn't take medical leave. I just stopped coming. Silence on the other end. Lisa, we have paperwork. Signed by you. Medical documentation. A letter from your doctor about early onset dementia risk. My stomach dropped. I never signed anything. It's in your file. Your signature. Look, I'm sympathetic to your situation, I really am. But given the circumstances, I don't think returning to teaching would be appropriate right now. I hung up, sat there staring at my phone. There was paperwork, with my signature, that I didn't remember signing. When Derek came home, I confronted him. Did you talk to my old department? What? No, why? They said you called months ago. Told them I had cognitive issues. His face showed concern. Lisa, I never called them. But honestly, maybe someone should have. You weren't in any state to be around students. There's paperwork saying I took medical leave. I never filed for medical leave. Maybe you did and don't remember. That's been happening a lot. Derek, I didn't sign anything. Okay. He held up his hands, placating. Okay, maybe there was a mistake. Do you want me to call them? Sort it out? No, forget it. But I didn't forget it. I couldn't. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went online, Googled memory loss and gaslighting together. The results made my hands shake. Article after article about psychological manipulation. about making someone doubt their reality, about moving objects, denying conversations, isolating victims. I read for hours. Derek was asleep upstairs. I sat in the dark living room, laptop screen illuminating my face, reading about something that felt uncomfortably familiar. But then I closed the laptop, because this was exactly what Derek warned about. Me getting paranoid, me seeing conspiracy where there was just illness. He loved me. He took care of me. Why would he deliberately hurt me? I went to bed, but sleep wouldn't come. The next day, I did something else I hadn't done in forever. I went through old photo albums, pictures from before we were married. Me at gallery openings, surrounded by friends. Me teaching students gathered around. Me hiking, camping, traveling. I looked so alive in those photos. When had I stopped looking alive? I found my old phone, the one before Derek got me the new one. Plugged it in to see if it still worked. It did. Scrolled through old texts. Messages from friends I'd lost touch with. Rachel, Jennifer, my cousin Amy. Normal conversations. Making plans. Sharing jokes. Then the messages changed. Around year 4 of my marriage. Are you okay? You seemed really out of it at lunch. Lisa, you're scaring me. Please call. I'm worried about you. Derek says you're not doing well, but you won't talk to me. And then, nothing. The messages just stopped. Had I stopped responding? Or had something else happened? I heard Derek's car in the driveway. Quickly unplugged the old phone, hid it in my studio. What are you doing? He asked, finding me there. Just looking at old work. He glanced at the canvases. You were so talented. It's sad what's happened to you. The way he said it. What's happened to you? Like I was a tragedy. Like I was past tense. I'm still here, I said quietly. Are you? He looked at me, because sometimes I feel like I'm living with a ghost. That night, after he fell asleep, I lay awake thinking about that old phone. About those messages. About paperwork I didn't remember signing. About smoke detectors that seemed to watch. About a husband who was either the most patient man alive or what? I didn't let myself finish that thought. Not yet, but a crack had formed, small, barely visible, in the certainty that I was the broken one. And through that crack, doubt was starting to seep in. Year 9 started with a phone call I actually remembered making. I called my old department at the college, asked if there were any part-time positions available. I needed something, anything to make me feel like a real person again. Lisa? The department secretary sounded surprised. We haven't heard from you in so long. How are you? I'm better, I think. I was wondering about teaching opportunities. Let me transfer you to Dr. Morrison. While on hold, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Maybe I could work again. Maybe I wasn't as broken as everyone thought. Dr. Morrison, the department chair, came on the line. Lisa, it's good to hear from you. Derek mentioned you've been going through a difficult time. Derek called you? A few months ago. He was very concerned. Said you'd had to take medical leave due to cognitive issues. I didn't take medical leave. I just stopped coming. Silence on the other end. Lisa, we have paperwork. Signed by you. Medical documentation. A letter from your doctor about early onset dementia risk. My stomach dropped. I never signed anything. It's in your file. Your signature. Look, I'm sympathetic to your situation, I really am. But given the circumstances, I don't think returning to teaching would be appropriate right now. I hung up, sat there staring at my phone. There was paperwork, with my signature, that I didn't remember signing. When Derek came home, I confronted him. Did you talk to my old department? What? No, why? They said you called months ago. Told them I had cognitive issues. His face showed concern. Lisa, I never called them. But honestly, maybe someone should have. You weren't in any state to be around students. There's paperwork saying I took medical leave. I never filed for medical leave. Maybe you did and don't remember. That's been happening a lot. Derek, I didn't sign anything. Okay. He held up his hands, placating. Okay, maybe there was a mistake. Do you want me to call them? Sort it out? No, forget it. But I didn't forget it. I couldn't. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went online, Googled memory loss and gaslighting. Together. The results made my hands shake. Article after article about psychological manipulation. About making someone doubt their reality. About moving objects, denying conversations, isolating victims. I read for hours. Derek was asleep upstairs. I sat in the dark living room, laptop screen illuminating my face, reading about something that felt uncomfortably familiar. But then I closed the laptop, because this was exactly what Derek warned about. Me getting paranoid, me seeing conspiracy where there was just illness. He loved me. He took care of me. Why would he deliberately hurt me? I went to bed, but sleep wouldn't come. The next day, I did something else I hadn't done in forever. I went through old photo albums, pictures from before we were married, me at gallery openings, surrounded by friends, me teaching students gathered around, me hiking, camping, traveling. I looked so alive in those photos. When had I stopped looking alive? I found my old phone, the one before Derek got me the new one. Plugged it in to see if it still worked. It did. Scrolled through old texts, messages from friends I'd lost touch with. Rachel, Jennifer, my cousin Amy. Normal conversations. Making plans. Sharing jokes. Then the messages changed. Around year 4 of my marriage. Are you okay? You seemed really out of it at lunch. Lisa, you're scaring me. Please call. I'm worried about you. Derek says you're not doing well, but you won't talk to me. And then, nothing. The messages just stopped. Had I stopped responding? Or had something else happened? I heard Derek's car in the driveway. Quickly unplugged the old phone, hid it in my studio. What are you doing? He asked, finding me there. Just looking at old work. He glanced at the canvases. You are so talented. It's sad what's happened to you. The way he said it. What's happened to you? Like I was a tragedy. Like I was past tense. I'm still here, I said quietly. Are you? He looked at me, because sometimes I feel like I'm living with a ghost. That night, after he fell asleep, I lay awake thinking about that old phone. About those messages. About paperwork I didn't remember signing. About smoke detectors that seemed to watch. About a husband who was either the most patient man alive or what? I didn't let myself finish that thought. Not yet. But a crack had formed, small, barely visible. In the certainty that I was the broken one. And through that crack, doubt was starting to seep in. I started paying attention differently. Not obviously. Not in ways Derek would notice. But I started watching. Watching where I left things. Mentally photographing their positions. My coffee mug on the left side of the sink. My book on the nightstand with the bookmark at page 47. My car keys on the hook, second from the left. Then checking later. Seeing if they'd moved. They moved. Not always. Not every day. But enough. My mug would be on the right side. My book would be on page 52. Bookmark moved. My keys on the third hook. Small changes. The kind you dismiss as your own forgetfulness. Unless you were specifically looking for them. I was looking now. I also started testing my memory. Writing things down in a notebook I kept hidden in my studio. Behind old canvases Derek never looked at. What I ate for breakfast. What time Derek left for work. Conversations we had. Then checking my notes the next day. Seeing what matched reality. Most of it matched. My memory wasn't as broken as I'd been told. That realization felt like standing on cracking ice. Everything I'd believed about myself for 5 years, suddenly questionable. One afternoon, Derek's phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. He was upstairs in the shower. I glanced at the screen. A notification from an app I didn't recognize. Motion detected. Living room. Motion detected? I picked up his phone. It was locked, of course. But I'd seen the notification clearly. When Derek came downstairs, I was making lunch, pretending I hadn't seen anything. Your phone buzzed. I said casually. Left it on the counter. Thanks. He checked it, face neutral. Slipped it into his pocket. What was the notification? Just work stuff. It said something about motion detected. He looked at me. Did you read my texts? No, I just saw the notification on the lock screen. Lisa. His voice had an edge. You're doing it again. Being paranoid. Seeing things that aren't there. I saw it, Derek. It said motion detected. It was probably a security app from one of my building projects. I monitor construction sites remotely. Are you seriously interrogating me about a work notification? I backed down. No, sorry, I wasn't interrogating. You were. This is what I'm talking about. This paranoia. It's getting worse. But I'd seen what I'd seen. That night after he fell asleep, I did something that would have been unthinkable 6 months earlier. I went through the house, really looked at it. Started in the living room, looked at the smoke detector, got a chair, stood on it, examined it closely. It looked normal, just a standard smoke detector, but there was a tiny hole in the center, beyond the sensor openings, almost imperceptible. I moved through the house, found 4 more smoke detectors, all with the same tiny hole. In the bedroom, I noticed the digital clock on Derek's nightstand, faced directly at the bed. I picked it up, looked at the back, saw a lens. My heart was pounding now. I went to my studio, examined everything, found a small device hidden behind books on the shelf, another in the air vent. I sat on the floor, shaking. These weren't smoke detectors. These were cameras. My husband had cameras in our house, watching me. I should have confronted him right then. Should have woken him up, demanded answers. But I didn't, because part of me still doubted. Still thought maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe these were for security. Maybe there was a reasonable explanation. And part of me was terrified of what would happen if I was right. So I put everything back exactly as I'd found it. Went to bed, lay next to Derek, pretending to sleep, my mind racing. If there were cameras, how long had they been there? What had he seen? What had he done with the footage? And more importantly, what else had he done? The next morning I acted normal. Made coffee. Derek kissed me goodbye. Left for work at 7:30. At 8 I went back to the cameras. Took photos of them with my old phone, the one he didn't know I'd found. Documented every single one. Then I sat at my laptop and researched. Hidden cameras, smoke detectors. Spy cameras in home. The results made me sick. These were surveillance cameras, designed to look like ordinary household items, available online, easy to install. Some had motion detection, some recorded continuously, some had live feeds you could access remotely. Derek could be watching me right now, watching me research cameras, watching me figure it out. I closed the laptop, looked up at the smoke detector in the ceiling, waved. If he was watching, let him know I knew. But nothing happened. No car pulling into the driveway. No angry phone call. Maybe he wasn't watching in real time. Maybe he only reviewed footage later. Or maybe I was still wrong. Maybe I was having a breakdown. Maybe this was another delusion, like the ones everyone kept telling me I had. Except this time, I had evidence. Photos on my phone. Documentation I needed to be sure. Completely sure before I did anything. That afternoon I did something that felt insane. I went to an electronics store, bought a device that detected hidden cameras, paid cash, came home, swept the entire house. The device went crazy. 12 signals, 12 cameras, bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room, my studio, even the garage, everywhere, watching everything. I sat on the couch holding this device, watching its lights blink at camera after camera, and I started laughing. Actual laughing, borderline hysterical, because I wasn't crazy. I'd been right about all of it. The moved objects, the missing keys, the conversations I didn't remember. He'd been gaslighting me, deliberately, systematically, for years, and he'd been watching himself do it. When Derek came home that night, I had the camera detector hidden, had my emotions hidden, acted like any other evening. How was your day? He asked, quiet. I said. Same as always. Did you go out? Just to the store. Which store? Usually I'd answer without thinking, but now I heard the question differently. He was checking, making sure his footage matched my story. Target. I lied. What did you get? Just looked around. Didn't buy anything. He nodded. Seemed satisfied. We ate dinner, watched TV, went to bed. And I lay there staring at that smoke detector, that camera, knowing he might review this footage tomorrow. Might see me staring right at it. Let him see. I wasn't hiding anymore. Tomorrow I'd figure out what to do. How to get out. How to prove it. But tonight, for the first time in 5 years, I knew the truth. I wasn't crazy. He was. I spent 3 days planning. 3 days pretending everything was normal, while my entire world had shifted on its axis. I couldn't just leave. I had no money of my own, no car in my name, no recent work history. And if I accused Derek without proof, who would believe me? The woman everyone thought was mentally unstable. I needed evidence he couldn't deny. On Tuesday morning after Derek left for work, I took every camera I could safely remove. The ones in smoke detectors I couldn't reach without tools. But the clock, the air vent devices, the one hidden in the bookshelf, I took them all. Drove to a FedEx store, shipped them to my parents' address in Boston with a note. Don't open. Don't tell anyone you received these. I'll explain soon. Then I went to the police station. The officer at the desk looked bored until I said the words, hidden cameras, and my husband. They took me to a private room. A detective named Sarah Chen sat across from me, notepad ready. Tell me everything, she said. So I did. 10 years compressed into 40 minutes. The gaslighting, the isolation, the cameras, the systematic destruction of my sense of reality. Do you have proof of the cameras? She asked. I showed her the photos on my phone, the detector readings, the documentation. Where are the cameras now? I removed what I could, shipped them to my parents for safekeeping. She nodded slowly. That was smart. Mrs. Bennett, what you're describing is illegal surveillance. In Oregon, it's a felony to record someone in their home without consent, especially in private areas like bedrooms and bathrooms. So you believe me? I believe you have evidence. Whether we can prosecute depends on several factors. But yes, based on what you're showing me, I believe something criminal has been happening in your home. I started crying. Everyone's told me I'm crazy for 5 years. My doctors, my friends, my family, everyone except me. You're not crazy, Detective Chen said firmly. You're a victim of psychological abuse and illegal surveillance. We're going to help you. They couldn't arrest Derek immediately. They needed to verify the cameras, confirm the recordings existed, build a case. But they could help me leave safely. Do you have somewhere to go? Chen asked. My parents. In Boston. Good. Can you pack and leave today? Before he gets home from work? I could. I would. She gave me her card. Pack only essentials. Don't tell him you're leaving. Don't confront him. Just go. We'll handle the rest. I drove home shaking. This was real. This was happening. I packed one suitcase. Clothes. My old phone. Documents from the safe Derek didn't know I'd found the combination to. Our marriage certificate. Financial records. Titles and deeds. And my old sketchbooks from before. Proof that I'd once been a different person. I looked around the house one last time. 10 years of my life in these rooms. 10 years of slow-motion psychological murder. I stood in the living room, looked up at the camera in the smoke detector, and spoke directly to it. I know what you did. I know what you are. And I'm done. Then I walked out, drove to the airport, bought a ticket to Boston, sat in the terminal waiting for my flight, half expecting Derek to appear, to somehow know I'd left. But he didn't. My phone started ringing around 6 p.m., his usual check-in time. I didn't answer. It rang 4 more times before I boarded. I turned it off. On the plane, I looked out the window at Portland disappearing below. Somewhere down there, Derek was coming home to an empty house. finding my closet half empty. Realizing I was gone, I wondered what he felt. Panic? Rage? Or nothing at all? My parents were waiting at Logan Airport. I'd called them from Portland. Explained only the basics. I left Derek. I'm coming home. I'll explain everything when I get there. My mom took one look at me and burst into tears. Oh, honey. Oh, my baby. My dad just held me. You're safe now. That's all that matters. At their house, I showed them everything. The photos, the detective's card, the cameras I'd shipped to them, which had arrived that afternoon. Jesus Christ, my dad said, staring at the devices laid out on their dining room table. He was watching you? All this time? He was doing more than watching. He was moving things, making me think I was losing my mind. For years, Dad, he made me believe I had dementia at 37. My mom was pale. We noticed you changing, getting quieter, more uncertain. We thought it was depression or anxiety. We never imagined... No one imagines this, I said. That's how it works. My phone, still off, sat on the table between us. I turned it on. 43 missed calls. 37 texts. Where are you? Lisa, answer me. I'm worried. Please call. I know you're upset. Let's talk about this. You're making a mistake. You need help. Come home. And finally, I know you took the cameras. That's theft. I could press charges. I showed that last text to my parents. He's threatening you. My dad said. He knows you figured it out. The next morning, Detective Chen called. We executed a search warrant on your house this morning. Found the remaining cameras. Also found a server in his office with recordings going back 8 years. 8 years. Nearly my entire marriage, recorded. We're filing charges. Unlawful surveillance. Harassment. Potentially more once we review all the footage. Your husband was arrested an hour ago. He was arrested? He's being held pending bail hearing. Mrs. Bennett? The recordings show him deliberately moving your belongings, accessing your phone while you slept, even drugging your coffee occasionally with mild sedatives. This isn't just surveillance. This is systematic psychological torture. I sat down, legs suddenly weak. He drugged me? We found the medication in his office. Matches substances we detected in your system during your hospital visits. He was keeping you foggy, compliant. Everything clicked into place. The days I couldn't account for, the exhaustion, the memory gaps, not dementia, not mental illness, drugs. I want to press charges for everything, I said. Everything he did. We'll build the strongest case we can. In the meantime, stay where you are. Stay away from him. He's dangerous, Mrs. Bennett. More dangerous than you might realize. Derek made bail 2 days later. Started calling from different numbers. I blocked everyone. His lawyer sent a letter. Claimed I'd stolen property. The cameras. Abandoned our home. Was having a breakdown. Typical abuser playbook. Deny, deflect, blame the victim. But this time, there was proof. Hours of footage of him gaslighting me. Poisoning me. Watching me fall apart. The proof I'd always been told I couldn't trust. My own memory, my own perception, was now validated by his own recordings. He'd documented his own crime. The criminal trial took 6 months to prepare. Derek's lawyer tried everything, claimed the cameras were for home security, that I'd consented, that I'd known about them all along, but the recordings told a different story. Hour after hour of footage showing Derek methodically destroying my reality, moving my keys while I slept, switching my medications, recording my most private moments. The prosecution had psychiatrists review the footage. They testified about the psychological impact, coercive control, gaslighting as a form of torture. Derek's ex-girlfriend came forward, said he'd done similar things to her, made her think she was crazy. She'd left without understanding why she'd felt so unstable around him. There were 2 of us, maybe more who hadn't come forward yet. The jury took 4 hours to convict him on all charges. Unlawful surveillance, stalking, assault for the drugging. He got 7 years. The judge's words stayed with me. You didn't just violate her privacy, Mr. Bennett. You violated her sense of self. You tried to erase her from her own life. The civil divorce was easier. With a felony conviction, I got everything. The house, the assets, compensation for therapy, for lost wages, for 10 years of psychological abuse. I didn't want his money, but I took it anyway, because I'd earned it. Every dollar was payment for a year of my life he'd stolen. The first year after the trial was harder than I expected, not because I missed Derek. I didn't, but because I had to learn how to trust my own mind again. I'd spent so long being told my perception was wrong, that even with proof, even with vindication, I second-guessed everything. Did I really lock the door? Did I actually say that? Was this memory real or false? My therapist, Dr. Caroline Wu, specialized in trauma from psychological abuse. She was patient with my constant need for reassurance. Did I tell you about my nightmare last week? Or am I imagining that conversation? You told me. Tuesday session. You're not imagining it. How do I know? How do I know what's real anymore? Time, she said. Consistency. No one's moving your things. No one's drugging you. Your memories are yours again. It takes time to trust that. I lived with my parents for the first 6 months. At 46 years old, back in my childhood bedroom. But I needed it. Needed people around me who weren't gaslighting me. Who confirmed reality instead of distorting it. My dad would say things like, "You left your coffee mug on the table this morning. Want me to grab it for you?" Simple statements. Confirming what I already knew. Rebuilding my confidence that I could trust what I saw. My mom helped me sort through what had been real and what hadn't. We went through old photos, old emails, reconstructing the timeline of my life, separating Derek's fiction from my reality. "You did have lunch with Rachel that day," she'd say, showing me a text I'd sent her about it. "You told me about it right after. You're not making it up?" Slowly, painfully, I started trusting myself again. I started painting. Real painting, not the half-hearted attempts from my marriage. I painted rage, painted cameras, painted smoke detectors with eyes, painted myself fragmenting, and then coming back together. An old colleague from the college saw my work online, reached out, said the department wanted to do an exhibition, Surveillance and the Self, Art from Recovery. I said yes. The opening was in November, 7 months after the trial. I was terrified, hadn't been in public professionally in a decade, hadn't trusted myself around people, but I went, stood in front of my paintings, raw, angry, honest paintings about what had been done to me, and people understood. They got it. A woman approached me, maybe 50, tears in her eyes. My husband used to tell me I was imagining things too. For years, I thought I was crazy. "Your work. It's like you painted my life." We talked for an hour. I gave her Dr. Wu's number, told her it wasn't too late to trust herself again. That's when I understood my purpose now. Not just surviving what happened to me, but helping others recognize it in their own lives. I started a blog, Trusting Reality After Gaslighting. Shared my story in detail. The cameras, the drugs, the systematic destruction of my sense of self, and the recovery. Messages flooded in, hundreds of them, women and men who'd experienced similar things, who'd been told they were crazy, who'd doubted their own memories for years. I answered every single one, pointed them toward resources, told them the same thing Dr. Wu told me. Your perception is valid. Trust yourself. Around month 8, I moved into my own apartment in Boston, small 1-bedroom in Cambridge. It was mine. Every single thing in it was something I chose. No cameras, no surveillance, just me and my reality. I'd wake up in the morning and things would be exactly where I left them. My keys on the hook, my coffee mug in the sink, my book on the nightstand, bookmark at the page I remembered. The first time I went an entire week without questioning my memory, I cried, called Dr. Wu from my kitchen floor, sobbing. I think I'm starting to believe myself again, I said. You are, she confirmed. Lisa, you're healing. I reconnected with old friends. Rachel drove down from Portland. We met for lunch, and she cried when she saw me. I knew something was wrong, she said. But Derek kept saying you were ill, that you needed space. I should have pushed harder. He was good at what he did, I told her. You couldn't have known. But you knew. Deep down, you knew something was wrong. She was right. That small voice that kept whispering, "This isn't right." I tried to silence it, but it never fully went away. That voice saved me. By month 10, I was teaching again. Just one class at a community college. Introduction to Art History. Standing in front of students, sharing knowledge, feeling competent again. The first day, I was so nervous I thought I'd throw up. What if I forgot what I was teaching? What if I said something wrong? What if my mind failed me in front of all these people? But it didn't. I taught the class. Students took notes, asked questions, treated me like a normal professor because I was one. After class, a student approached. Young woman, maybe 20. "Professor Bennett, I just wanted to say, I heard about your case. My mom was in a similar situation. Your story helped her leave. Thank you." I went to my car and cried again. But this time, it was different. Not grief. Not relief. Something else. Pride, maybe. That what happened to me, as awful as it was, could help someone else. I started dating cautiously. Nothing serious. Coffee dates. Lunch. Testing whether I could trust my judgment about people again. One man seemed nice until he asked why I kept checking my phone's location settings. "That's paranoid behavior," he said. I ended the date immediately, because it wasn't paranoid. It was self-protection. And I was learning the difference. Another man, Tom, was patient when I explained why I needed to take things slow. I was in an abusive marriage. I'm still learning to trust. "That's fair," he said. "No pressure. We can be friends who sometimes get coffee if that's all you're comfortable with." His respect for my boundaries made me trust him more, not less. By the end of year 1, I was 47, working part-time, painting, living alone, seeing a therapist weekly, dating occasionally, writing my blog, answering messages from survivors. Not healed, not over it, but healing, functioning, living. Dr. Wu asked during one session, "If you could tell yourself something, the Lisa from 5 years ago, convinced she was losing her mind, what would you say?" I thought about it. About that woman so certain she was broken, so isolated, so lost. I'd tell her to trust that small voice, the one saying something's wrong. Even when everyone else is saying she's crazy, that voice is telling the truth. Listen to it. It's trying to save your life. And would you tell her she'd be okay? I smiled. I'd tell her it gets better. Not easy, not perfect, but better, real. Tom and I took it slow. Coffee once a week became dinner twice a month became actual dates. He never pushed, never questioned why I needed to see his driver's license the first time he picked me up, or why I checked that his address matched what he'd told me. Trust but verify, he said simply. Makes sense after what you went through. 6 months in, he asked if I wanted to meet his daughter. College student home for winter break. Only if you're comfortable, he added. No pressure. I met her. She was kind, asked about my art, didn't treat me like I was fragile. Over lunch, she mentioned her mom. She passed away 3 years ago. Cancer. Dad's been alone since then. Tom didn't flinch at the mention, didn't change the subject, just existed comfortably with his own grief. That's when I knew he was different. He didn't need me to be anything other than what I was. Year 2. I was 48 now. Tom and I were officially together, though we kept separate apartments. Maybe we always would. And that was okay. I'd learned that love didn't mean merging your life with someone else's. It meant choosing to share space while keeping your own. I'm 48 years old now. It's been 3 years since I found the cameras. 3 years since I learned I wasn't crazy. People ask me sometimes if I'm over it, if I've moved on. The answer is complicated. I still check smoke detectors everywhere I go. Hotels, friends' houses, public bathrooms. It's automatic now. Some habits die hard. I still have moments where I question my memory. Did I lock my car? Did I say that? But now I have tools. I write things down. I take photos. And most importantly, I trust myself when that small voice says, something's wrong. Because that voice saved my life. I teach 3 classes now at the community college. My students don't know my story unless they Google me, which some do. When they approach me after class, nervous, wanting to talk about their own situations, controlling partners, manipulative parents, relationships that make them doubt themselves. I listen. I believe them. I tell them what I wish someone had told me earlier. Your perception is real. Trust it. My art has evolved. I still paint surveillance themes, but now I also paint reconstruction. Windows opening, chains breaking, women's faces becoming solid again, no longer fragmenting. I had a solo exhibition last month. Tom came, stood beside me as strangers examined my most vulnerable moments, translated into paint. His daughter came too, brought her girlfriend. We all went to dinner after, and I realized I had something I hadn't had in years. A chosen family, people who saw me clearly and didn't try to distort that vision. Tom and I still have separate apartments. We probably always will, and he's never once suggested I'm being paranoid or difficult for needing that space. He gets it. Or if he doesn't fully get it, he respects it anyway. That's what healthy love looks like. It doesn't try to change your reality. It exists alongside it. Derek got out on parole after 4 years. I know because the victim services coordinator called me, asked if I wanted to file for a restraining order extension. I did. I also know he's tried to contact me through fake social media profiles, tried to find where I live. The investigator I hired found evidence of it. He's still watching, or trying to, but the difference is now I'm watching back, and I have documentation, evidence, legal protection, and most importantly, I have myself. My clear, undrugged, ungaslit self who knows exactly what she's dealing with. He has no power over me anymore. I write about this on my blog sometimes. The fact that recovery isn't linear. That you don't just get over 10 years of psychological torture. That triggers still exist. That healing is ongoing. But I also write about the good days. The days I trust myself completely. The days I make decisions without second guessing. The days I feel solid, real, here. Those days are increasing. If you're watching this and something feels familiar, if you're being told you're too sensitive, too paranoid, remembering things wrong, I need you to hear this. You're not crazy. Your perception is valid. That feeling that something's wrong, that's your instinct trying to protect you. Trust it. Document everything. Tell someone. Find one person who believes you. And know that there's a version of your life waiting for you, where you get to just be yourself, certain of your own reality, without apologizing for it. I want to know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. And if this story helped you, if you recognize something in it, please subscribe. We share stories like this every single day. Real women, real experiences. Real survival and real recovery. You're not alone in this. I promise you're not alone. And if you're that person who thinks they're losing their mind, who everyone says is imagining things, who's been told for years that their memory can't be trusted, listen to me. Trust yourself anyway. Your reality is real. Your memories are yours, and you deserve to live in a world where no one makes you doubt that. My name is Lisa. I'm 48 years old. I spent 10 years being told I was crazy. And then I found the cameras that proved I was right all along.